Bonjour, Marc.
Bonjour, comment ça va?
Ça va bien. Oh, est-ce que c'est en français aujourd'hui?
Peut-être. No, I'm going to switch right now because we'll soon reach the limits of my high school French. So how are you doing?
Oh, very well. As I was telling you before we started this, I delivered a little course today for the Writers Federation in New Brunswick. And I think people actually remained conscious for some of it. So
That's always good to aim high that way.
yes. How are you doing?
I'm okay. It's spooky season, and I think we have a spooky guest on. So I thought I'd ask a spooky question, which is, and forgive me if I've already asked you this. What frightens you? And this is a question for our guest too. Me? I might have asked this question already, but I don't think so.
So what frightens me? I get my immediate question back would be, why do you think there's things that frighten a man like me?
Well, because you're a human being.
Boy, what frightens me these days? Oh God, I hate to even say it. It's so frightening. I don't even want to say it. But bad things happening to loved ones. That's what frightens me.
Yeah, that's the number one with a bullet. 100%.
Yeah. What about
you? Clowns right after that.
Oh yeah, I knew that.
I'm not like phobic frightened, but I'm definitely creeped out by clowns. I don't see the appeal.
I would say that you're intelligently frightened of clowns.
Yeah, I mean, I think actually we're legitimately supposed to be a little bit frightened by them.
Absolutely, yeah.
A little bit what the gig is, but I thought this might be a question for our guest too.
Christopher Sweet, welcome to Recreative.
Thank you. I mean, thank you.
Thank you.
Great to be here. You want me to answer that question?
Yeah. What frightens you?
As well? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think you enter a phase of your life where, it's probably, Mark, I don't know if you have a family. I'm assuming you have some family, but you kind of a lot of us maybe graduate from tangential fears to more existential fears. Maybe. I'm with you guys. Things happening to my loved ones. I'm a pretty new dad. I've got a 6-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 1.5-year-old. So right now, my whole world of fear is based around those little bodies.
Yeah. It's completely what I was talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. So let's rephrase the question. Is there anything that you like to be afraid of? Like, I think me with clowns, like that's me with clowns. Like it's like, I kind of get a kick out of being amused by my fear of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That changes. I'm going to have to go with roller coasters then.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah. I love them, but they can be scary. Yeah. Christopher's thinking.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I would say when we're in terms of entertainment, I would say dread is something that just the creation or the manifestation of dread in any sort of, in a movie or book, just the creeping sense that something's wrong or going to go wrong. But if in the real world, what I like to be afraid of is kind of spiders. They always creeped me out for a long time. And I decided at some point in my early 30s, I wasn't going to let it control me anymore. And I still can't let them touch me.
Wait, it controlled you?
Well, it was something that I would, if there were spiders
made major life
in a room, I wouldn't enter the room and I knew I was, driving in the summertime. I was always a little bit anxious because I knew if a spider dropped down in front of me while I was driving, I'm going off the road. It doesn't matter who's in the car with me. So I realized that I needed to get a hang of that. And so, anyway. So I enjoy having them around now. I like watching them. I like that they kind of make my skin crawl a little bit.
Good for you.
Still don't want to touch
I would say like a spider would actually have to pull up beside me in an adjacent vehicle before I would become frightened.
They're dangerous on the road, man. You don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, they don't care, man. They'll just race anywhere.
Gangs and stuff. I'm not trying to paint them all with the same brush, but all spiders.
Those are arachnids.
Yeah.
Okay, would you be frightened if I introduced you now? Because people may be wondering, who is this guy?
A little bit frightened. That's okay. It's a good frightened.
Okay, all right. So Christopher Sweet has worked as a freelance writer, a manager, a waiter, bartender. This may use up the entire time of the podcast.
Yep.
Event DJ, actor, children's entertainer, truck driver, shopkeeper, call center operator, concierge, office assistant, barista, and I believe you're currently working as a campground manager.
Mm-hmm.
Everything short of a Venezuelan beaver wrangler, as near as I can figure.
I only did that for a couple of weeks, so I didn't think it counted to put it on.
Okay,
on the resume.
okay,
It's nice work if you can get it, though.
And the author of several books. One sitting here beside me, The Orchid Room, and Something Sweet was would it be correct in calling Something Sweet a novella?
Yeah, that's how I think it even says so on the cover. A novella.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I think.
Yeah, and that is the novella that brought you to my attention. It was recommended to me by the Partridge Island Publishing folks up in St. John.
God bless them.
And yeah, they said this one's flying off the shelves. You should be acquainted with this guy. So I did, and I was duly impressed.
Yeah, they're great people. I owe them a lot. Shout out to Partridge Island Publishing. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything that I missed there that you would say about, especially pertaining to your writing career?
No, I don't think you did. You shouted out 2 of my best-selling books, which I appreciate. Thank you. I've got lots more in the works. No, I've dabbled in a lot, writing-wise, screenwriting and poetry, and I try to stay fresh in those things a little bit, but I consider myself a novelist above all.
Right. Yeah.
Or novellaist.
Novellaist.
Novist.
Yeah.
I share 5 of those pastimes, by the way. 5 of those occupations.
Really?
Concierge.
Yeah, I was counting. So bartender, server. I'm not going to remember them all. Children's entertainer.
Interesting.
What am I missing?
But not clown, to be clear.
Not clown. No, I was the gorilla suit guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was the gorilla suit guy.
Now, Christopher, have you done your homework for this podcast?
Oh, yeah, to the sacrifice of my sleep. Yeah. It's been on my mind. Narrowing this down to one thing, and I cheated a bit, but yeah, and by the way, a fellow author recommended I make my whole list my my chosen piece of art to talk about, because I had a list of things written down as potentials. So
okay.
And then I went through your history and nixed off the ones that are already on there. So sorry, Ray Bradbury and a couple of others.
I guess that is sort of a byproduct of as we go on, it may become harder and harder to find guests because there's nothing left to talk about.
There's so much out there. I mean, I know you're being facetious, but there's so much out there. Yeah. Which is the problem. That's my problem.
And favorite changes too, right? Like that can change in your, even like in my week, that can change, you know?
And so don't be too concerned, because it's not like you have to only be on this podcast once. We have brought people back, who are so passionate about, they're like, hey, we talked about this. Now we got to talk about that. We're like, okay, well, good. Come on back. So.
All right. I'll mark you guys in for the next 8 Sundays, and then we can
then we can really get somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so now I'm really intrigued. What did you choose out of all this long list?
Oh my God. And even still now I'm like, was this the right thing? I chose based on, I tried to make it something that has affected me for a longer period of time.
Sure.
Something that has worked in my life as well as in my art, and something that I talk about to other people and so I chose, I've got the whole stack here, but the series, Stephen King's Dark Tower series, starting with
okay.
The Gunslinger, and moving on.
Great choice.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad that you recognize it. It's
absolutely
it's a bit of a niche kind of
Darren, now I really wish I'd read them.
Oh, man, but you know what? But you'll be so happy you did if you do.
I will. Yeah, I like his writing quite a bit, so I'm sure I'll enjoy it.
So before we get into it, can I just ask you, does the word lobstrosity mean anything?
Oh, yeah, of course it does. I've been to this series 3 or 4 times now. It's not quite word for word in my memory, but yeah, lobstrosity. Yeah, data chum, data chalk.
So I haven't read them all yet. I'm still in the middle. Okay. So, and I really look forward to it because, they are a pleasure. So tell us why you chose that series.
Why? Like I said, my rationale was kind of something that's affected me for more than just a couple of years, and something that informs, I think, my work, maybe not directly, but tonally. I remember in I think it was early 2000s. I picked up The Gunslinger on the recommendation of a high school friend, tore through it, and I immediately picked up the next. I think at the time he was on 4 books in the series, because I recall as I almost immediately after I finished the last book that had been released, the next one in the series came out, because he had there was a big hiatus for him, partly because he was hit by a car.
Right.
And then, and the next books came out, and they're tomes. And, I would read one and then I'd have to wait. And I'd tear through them and wait for the next one. And this is the only book series I think that I've been, or one of the only book series that I've been waiting for the next one to come out, like, kind of thing. And it just grabbed me. And partly because of the world he creates, partly because of almost entirely because of the characters he puts into that world. I've been a huge Stephen King fan for my entire reading life. And I've read almost everything he's written. And I'm kind of the mind that he's not, and I don't say this really, I'm not trying to bash the guy, but I don't think he's terribly original in a lot of his work. But his approach in his ideas, or his concepts, and I only mean that loosely, but the way he approaches them is so unique, and the characters he puts into that stuff, and just some of the the guy is like a monk or something, with some of the phrases and just the cast off lines he puts in there, stuff that sticks with you forever. And you could, turn to almost any page or chapter in these books and find something heavy hitting that he probably doesn't even remember writing in it. And that goes the same for a lot of his books, but
he's certainly written a lot of words, so I couldn't blame him for not remembering every one of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he's getting up there,
it's his output is dang impressive.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
His ease and facility with storytelling that I find mind-boggling. Like when I read him, I think it should be possible to write like this. Like I should just be able to go to the laptop and start to write the same way he does, because he just makes it seem so easy and natural.
Mm-hmm.
And then you sit down and try to do that, and you can't. At least I can't. And so yeah, there's some kind of. I've often long thought that because he writes horror and supernatural, that there's some kind of a contract with the devil at play here.
Mm-hmm. I think the cocaine had a lot to do with it in the early days too.
I think
in terms of output, the focus and the output.
Yeah, it's bound to output, right? Like when you're writing that much, I think it does come a bit easier to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're not kids at home. We are not recommending cocaine through your own creative.
Coca-Cola, the Coca-Cola.
Yeah,
I say cocaine.
So, is that your favorite then of his work?
Yeah, I think so. Right, like Mark said, right now, yeah. And in this moment and in this frame of mind that I'm in, because my favorites change, with the wind. But interestingly enough, or maybe not at all surprisingly, one of the other items on my list was The Shining by Stephen King.
Oh yeah.
Right. Which again is, I've read that 3 or 4 times now, and it's hugely impactful, both in my writing and life. Like every stage of life, it hits you differently.
Where do you stand on the movie?
I think it's a great movie. I know King hates
Yeah, he hates the movie.
Yeah, Kubrick's version of it. And I understand why. And as a writer, I could understand if, I can understand that he's upset that he wrote a book about an alcoholic, and alcoholism is because that was important to Stephen King at the time too. And he battled with that a lot. And that was to Stephen King, The Shining was about alcoholism, an alcoholic doing this battle. So from an audience perspective, I'm kind of forever of the opinion that, the book, once it's written, belongs to the audience.
Yeah.
And it's what, when I read the book, it's what it's about to me. And, I'm not going to argue about it with the guy who wrote the book, but say that my version is better. But the whole point of reading a book is internalizing it and making it your own, and holding it up as a mirror to your own life. And I think Kubrick did a great, he made his version of The Shining, and he made a filmable version of The Shining. You can't film alcoholism. I spent a long time in screenwriting, and the big thing they tell you is, it's a visual medium. You gotta, and you can show someone drinking, but there's only so much you can do to illustrate alcoholism, and it's hard to make that a focal point of a horror movie, especially. And there's so much happening internally in the book. And I don't know. I think Kubrick nailed it for,
Oh yeah, I love that movie. Yeah. I mean, I like the book too. Don't get me wrong, but I actually really love that movie. I think it's quite brilliant, and so meticulous in the way that he was able to make his movies. Yeah.
Yeah, for better or worse. And you hear stories about that too, and it's like, whatever. All the actors stayed on and they're maybe regretting it now, but
you bring up an interesting point that that film is a visual medium, and one of the critical differences between film and writing, which is that you can't get into the heads of the characters the same way in a film. And I recently read The Maltese Falcon. I think it is. Yeah. And what was really interesting about that book is that it's kind of like a film, because you never get into the characters' heads. It's one of those rare books where there's it's basically, you read it as if it was a movie. And,
interesting.
And you can hear the what's his name? Sam Spade. You can, he's narrating it, but you can hear the voice like you're watching it on film. Oh, she was a tall dame or came in so I swatted her one, and she, it was the way it was written is almost for the screen.
Yeah. And it basically takes one of the strengths of fiction and does away with it, doesn't even use it. The fact that you can get into their heads. So
yeah, I think you can get into people's heads with film, though. I'm just thinking of alcoholism, and have you seen Billy Wilder's The Lost Weekend? Which
familiar with it, but haven't seen it.
It is a devastating movie, and it really does show maybe not his mind, like maybe not what he's thinking, but you get to sense the emotional despair of the character as he's on his bender. It's
and I probably misspoke a bit, but of course you can represent, especially these days, almost anything on screen to some degree.
No, but I completely take your point. Like, each medium,
I'm not arguing your point. Yeah, it's like they have their strengths. There's no question.
I'm just going to say, I think part of the challenge, I guess, with the mediums is wrestling with each medium's strengths and limitations, and and trying to make them work in different ways.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes a good filmmaker or author, is someone who can do that, or who can subvert the conventions they're supposed to stay within. Yeah, and I think, and for Kubrick, I think, in general, he's more of a visual storyteller too. I don't think script writing is his big strong point either. Maybe if you had Aaron Sorkin writing, The Shining, it probably wouldn't be as great. But the dialogue would be that they'd be conveying maybe more of what Stephen King wanted there.
Yeah, there'd be a lot more walking, talking shots.
To Joe's point, I mean, King is such a great storyteller, right? Like he just grabs you at the start of a story and it just pulls you along. And I don't know that I would say that of Kubrick. I don't know that I'm watching for the story as much as I'm waiting for the thing to be revealed to me. If that makes any sense. It's a different kind of storytelling. It's still storytelling, but just a different kind. Less narrative.
And he's I don't mean to say he's an excellent storyteller. Just not the scripting, but creating shots. Like I was watching a little feature on 2001: A Space Odyssey, and how long it took just to film some of the establishing shots of the spaceship that they use in the movie, and how many times they filmed it, and how he took I don't remember what the process is called that he used to capture it, but it took ages for them to just get this 30-second shot of a ship moving across the screen.
If you really want to go down a rabbit hole, I guess I'm just going to say this because our listeners might like to. It's a documentary about all of the theories about about Kubrick's Shining. It's called Room 237.
Right.
And don't watch it in the dark after taking peyote. That's all I'll say. It's not a good.
He means Coca-Cola, kids.
Coca-Cola, kids.
Yeah.
No Pez before you watch this.
No Pez.
Okay, I was going to bring us back to the Dark Tower.
Oh, yeah.
So, refresh my memory. How many books are currently in the series, The Dark Tower?
So there are 7 main books, and there are, I believe, oh man, there's some Stephen King fan out there is going to hate me for getting it wrong. I think there are 2 short stories about it. One that I know for sure, The Little Sisters of Illyria, which is kind of takes place before the events of the Gunslinger, which is the first book in the series. And then he more recently wrote something that fits in between, I believe it fits in between Wizard and Glass and Wolves of the Kala, I think is the next one. And it's a story within a story called Wind Through the Keyhole. And it finds the Roland, Eddie, Susanna, Jake, and Oy kind of at a rest stop, and Roland tells them a story about, the place they're in. So it's kind of an expandable universe, I think.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you read any of his work outside of that or heard him speak about it, so many of his novels tie into it. And so many, like one of the main characters through the last few books, I don't want to spoil anything. He's a prominent figure in one of his other big novels.
Yeah, I love
It's
that
awesome.
notion of mixing stuff up like that. For the sake of people who haven't read it or aren't familiar with the series, can you describe it a little bit?
Maybe, yeah, but don't let my description turn you off of it, because it's a wacky thing to say out loud. It's kind of, so if you're going to stick a genre on it, it's kind of fantasy Western horror. The first book reads a lot like a Western horror, kind of. Yeah, but it starts off with this gunslinger named Roland Deschain, and he's pursuing this figure called the Man in Black across a desert. And along the way, he finds this boy, Jake, who turns out comes from another world, and he joins him on his quest. And as the books go on, the world that the books take place in kind of merge with our world, and also other worlds in Stephen King's books, and kind of tie together. And I can't say much more about that without ruining it, but it spans genres, it spans lifetimes in the books, it spans worlds. Well, I wouldn't recommend it for fans of Westerns, because it kind of shakes the Western vibe, except for that Roland is a gunslinger who's essentially a cowboy, but the way they're represented in the book is like Knights of the Round Table. They're the figure that they sort of descend from is named Arthur of Eld, who is like our King Arthur. And it's really, and Roland's just a badass in the book. And the people he meets along the way are so deep and so troubled and so broken. And so is Roland. And it breaks your heart every time you read the series. It breaks your heart. And then you start it again. And you're like, oh, I love these people so much. And so much happens. There's so much devastation in these books.
Man, I think you've completely sold it.
Yeah, you sold me.
Okay,
I mean,
great.
I'm already like Stephen King, and I've just never got to these. So it sounds to me like, if you're a fan of Stephen King, would you say these are a must read? It sounds like
absolutely
everything Stephen King comes together in these books.
Yeah. It might not come together, but it's certainly featured. Like, you'll recognize things, especially if you're the kind of person who pays attention to, the really fine details in books and movies and such. I tend to forget the small things in a lot of things.
Yeah.
So when I reread these books, I see it again and I say, whoa, I didn't know that happened, or I forgot that happened, or I just read this other book that ties in and now I get it, kind of thing.
So how have these how has the Dark Tower informed your own work, or has it?
It must have. I mean, I don't know if maybe some writers can. As a writer, I have a hard time pinpointing where my ideas come from, or specific ideas, story ideas, people. but I know deep down that they're informed by what I, my life, what I see, what I do, the people I interact with, and the art I consume. And one of the things that I find, and it's not deliberate, but I know, if I analyze, if I pay attention to myself, I know I enjoy things that take place in other worlds. I think, Joe, you introduced me to the term portal fiction, which I love now, and I like using that term. But people from this world exploring other worlds is more kind of what I like, not exclusively, but it's,
Yeah.
And in my work, in The Boy in the Canvas, Joseph, who's the protagonist, he's a 12-year-old boy. He's able to enter paintings and experience them as real worlds. And that's kind of,
Cool.
probably inspired. We read a lot of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, or like that, the Chronicles of Narnia, when I was younger, and saw the movie countless times. The old, I think it was a PBS movie, maybe BBC. And that sort of stuff always tickled me. The character work, I think, just the unexpectedness of the characters that show up and the people who become heroic in his books. I love that. I love that you wouldn't, but you get these people who are perceived as low lives, maybe at some points, or Woody likes you, what's the guy's name in The Stand? Moon spells moon.
Oh yeah, that guy. What's his name? Oh, now my brother is. I could hear him yelling at me.
Everybody's yelling at it right now. Yeah,
Trash can man.
And he was, he had mental deficiencies that, and Stephen King makes people like that heroic in his books. I think in a lot of the kids in his books too are either outcasts or have something holding them back in their lives, either physically or emotionally or in their family. And he kind of he elevates these people without even really elevating them. And often they die as they're, achieving the cause. And I've noticed myself do that in at least one occasion. I won't say which.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't do it deliberately, but I like to look at it and say, oh, that kind of reminds me of something that Stephen King might have done. Maybe not, he would have done it better, but
don't say that.
Don't say that. Yeah.
Swinging the sword anyway. So
yeah.
Is he your favorite writer then, do you think, or at the moment?
No, I wouldn't say at the moment. I've read almost everything he's done. I don't like speaking disparagingly of people's art. To me, it feels like the fangs have kind of been worn down a little bit in some of his work. I haven't enjoyed it as much as I used to. And so I've gone back and been reading some of his older stuff to see. Maybe I grew out of Stephen King, but the older stuff sticks still. It's like I recently read
Interesting.
Pet Sematary and Salem's Lot, and they're probably more horrific now that I have kids than they were the first time I read them. And so well written, again, like beautifully written. Yeah, but these days I'm trying to explore a lot more. I'm reading a lot more classics. I mentioned it earlier. I'm a huge Bradbury fan. Something Wicked This Way Comes was one of my favorites as a
such an eloquent
teenager.
writer.
Oh my Lord. And I read it more recently in my adulthood again. Yeah, and and that as well, some beautiful lines in there. And even his more whimsical stuff, Dandelion Wine, I think it's called. It just summer anecdotes is all it is, and it makes you feel so good all over. And the Halloween Tree, again, it's just a fun. I think it's a kid's book, but it's also poignant in a lot of parts and fun, and he can move from that to something like Fahrenheit 451, and which he wrote in like 14 days or something ridiculous like that, in a rented typewriter in a library basement. And it's one of the most important books in the world, in my opinion.
Yeah, we talked with David Brin about that, actually.
Right, and that's why it's not.
And Abigail Grimes, actually.
Yeah.
That's the book
really?
that she brought. Yeah.
That's kind of a legendary story. It keeps coming up again and again, which is because it's so romantic, right?
The way he wrote it, you mean?
Yeah, the way he wrote it. Yeah. Like they're living above a gas station or something, he and his wife, and he's the number he's given to publishers is the gas station number. So he's always like listening for the phone to be
Mm.
ringing. Yeah, it's a great story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially for writers, I think, because we like
Yeah.
to think there's hope.
Yeah.
Or, it's.
Well,
I
we
think
live
it
on
can be
hope.
misguided. I think you need to, before hearing that story, you need to write a couple of novels and then hear the story so that you know the real side of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You'll be disappointed. If you try to.
So
Or maybe
tell
not.
us about. Sorry.
Yeah, tell us
So
about
tell
your
us about-
writing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
your own work. So, how many books have you written so far, and what are they?
Well, I've published 4 so far, written probably double that at this point. So
Yeah, you're on pace. That's about right.
I'll show you. Yeah. Okay. Good.
I think so. Yeah.
So my first, and I'll actually surprise you with something, or maybe not surprise you at all. But so The Boy in the Canvas, that's my first novel. I recently, really quick anecdote. You mentioned I manage a campground. We live on this campground. I manage it. We have a store. We all do store shifts. I sell my books in the store. It's one of the great things about having
that's
it.
good.
Yeah, I've got a monopoly on the literary world there, and bored stiff. And I just thought I should just flip through The Boy in the Canvas for whatever reason. And I pulled it off the shelf, and I thought, and there was a little voice in my head saying, "Don't do it, man." And I flipped to the back and I read the synopsis on the back, and nobody's pointed this out to me, so maybe nobody else noticed. There was a missing possessive apostrophe in one of the phrases on the back of the book, which is a direct quote from within the book, meaning inside the book, there's also a missing possessive apostrophe.
Oh, brother.
Oh, God. I lost a lot of sleep. So then I spent the next month redesigning the cover. So now we came up with this, which is a much shorter blurb on the back. So I could proofread it without error. So that cover is going to come out soon. Because if you can't put out a new book right away, redo the cover and just put out an old one again. And then next came Something Sweet, which Joe, you introduced to me through this one, a novella. It's a weird novella about this guy who creates strange desserts that make people think and want to do odd things. And his cousin, who's a health inspector, wants to. Yeah, they love it. His cousin's a health inspector and kind of wants to get to the bottom of where this is coming from. So
that's cool. That's a great premise.
Thank you. I call it a weird mystery, but that's probably
really fun.
There's a real Lovecraftian.
Is it magical realism? Is it horror? Like, is it more?
No, more horror. Like Joe said, there's a Lovecraftian vibe to it, but I wouldn't call it love. I don't think it has the tone of a lot of Lovecraft. It's probably
it certainly, it doesn't have sentences in it like the scions of the race were inurned in the declivity and the sepulcher. There's nothing like that.
And the narrator doesn't say, "I shouldn't tell you this, but I'm going to anyway."
It's like Lovecraft, only better.
Don't say that. Oh my Lord! But yes, thank you. And then I don't remember. I think these came out at the same time. So The Orchid Room is my most recent novel, and I simultaneously released this little novelette called Satisfaction Guaranteed. The Orchid Room is a supernatural horror about this girl who has had a bit of a rough go in life and runs away from home to join a group of young people who live in an abandoned kind of encampment out in the woods of Pennsylvania, of Appalachian, Pennsylvania. And while she's there, she discovers this dark entity is sort of overseeing the group. And then Satisfaction Guaranteed is like an episode of Black Mirror about a shopping app with an overzealous return policy. Yeah. And my next book, if I could plug that really quick,
go ahead,
which would be coming out. I'm going to say March is that's kind of my.
That might work with when we release these. It might be March.
Oh, great. Well, there you go. So I'm kind of shooting for March. It's a book called Encore. It's kind of a sci-fi horror about a disgraced rock band asked by this mysterious organization to come play one final reunion show. And as they do, they realize they're kind of opening a gateway to another world through their music.
Ooh.
So, and there's the other worlds.
That's Lovecraftian too.
I think it does a little bit. Yeah. I'm a Lovecraft guy for sure.
So what about like horror and like that sort of creeping dread that you like? What do you like about that? That feeling, that creeping dread kind of feeling that I get from Lovecraft. It's just like,
yeah, I mean, I think I like that. At the best part of the dread in almost any in any film or book that I can think of right now, anyway, is the feeling before the actual horror is shown.
yeah.
The build up and the sense, especially. I'm trying to think of what. What's the? I'm thinking of Leaving, or I'm thinking of Ending Things. I'm sorry, that's what it's called. I'm thinking by Ian, and now the name's coming to me. Ian something or other. Banks, maybe? No. Anyhow,
I'm thinking of Get Out.
Yeah. Oh, Get Out. That's a good example, though, too. Of
that movie was so hard to watch.
Yeah. And even rewatching it, it does a great job of building the dread.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking of Ending Things does the same thing, and I think does it better because it doesn't tell you at any point that what's happening is something wrong. It leaves it to the reader to decide something's not right here. Like, I didn't know what I was getting into. I went into it thinking it was maybe a comedy, maybe a suspense. I didn't know. And it was a great experience. And have either of you read it or watched it? I don't know if the movie's the same.
No, it's on my list of things to watch, though.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Find out if the movie does the same thing or is as good at delivering the punch, because the book was just, the way it did this reveal was wow, kind of. I'll never forget.
Okay, maybe I put the book on my list.
Yeah, the book. Yeah, I don't think it's a long book, if I remember, or I enjoyed it so much that it went quick.
So, a question I should have asked you 41 minutes ago.
What is your name?
This is what editing is for, Joe. This is why we edit.
I mean, you go by Christopher Sweet on on your books. Are you Christopher? Or are you Chris? Or you're both? Or
I guess it depends on what you want from me at the time. I'm Chris to a lot of people, but I'm also, I don't care really. I used to care. I used to not like the name Christopher at all.
Really?
Now I like it. Yeah, I don't know why. It felt formal to me, I think. Or maybe I got in trouble too much. Probably was it.
Or not a Winnie the Pooh fan, Christopher Robin?
Yeah, no, I loved Winnie the Pooh. Yeah, I don't know why.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you. But
okay, anyway, so that was just a lead-up question to my actual.
Okay.
I was gonna say
it was just softening you up, Chris.
Yeah, it was a softball. Yeah. Okay, here comes the big one.
So your books are they all self-published? Or are they mostly self-published? And if so, what are your feelings about it all? Traditional versus self-published? And
I think so. My books are all self-published. When I wrote The Boy in the Canvas, I spent a solid year querying agents and trying to get representation for it. And I thought up until a few years ago, I thought the only way that I could legitimately call myself a writer and legitimately be a writer, and that anyone would take my books seriously, is if I was represented by an agent, a literary agent, and published by, one of the big 4 or 5 publishers. That was, I wanted to see Doubleday on the side of my books. And then I spent almost an equal amount of time researching self-publishing and the process and the virtues of it. And I think, times are changing, and we're shifting in a lot of ways, and, not just writing and not publishing, but in a lot of ways. I mean, look at Netflix and streaming and gig work. Screenwriting is always, I think, going to be a collaborative process, because you can write the screen, and some guys, they're triple threats. They can write, direct. They're good cinematographers, even act. And, there are always going to be people who can do it all, and do it all very well. I think publishing has been held on to by these, big corporations for a long time, and they got used to it, and they got everybody else used to it. And and I'm not disparaging anybody. I think big publishing should go on for, a while still. But there are so many people who have jobs because of it, that it's going to be hard to let that go just for that reason. And then there are so many, and we get used to things as, just people, we get used to a way of doing things. And we know there might be a better way or an easier way or a more effective way of doing it, but change is really tough, and bucking a trend is really tough. And it's hard, bloody work, really hard work.
Yeah.
And it's hard work to do it right. And I think the two big things working against self-publishing right now are the traditional publishing world, which largely does not want self-publishing to be a legitimate way of getting books out, because obviously it's going to eventually cut into their
already is, I
earnings
think.
a bit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah. Oh, there's some very successful. Yeah.
But also, I mean, they're I'm not going to say hypocrites, but they're not against, Hugh Howey does well with wool. They're not against republishing his book after he's already made it a huge success.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, once they see that they can make
once
money
they
off
see
it.
they can make money off of that, yeah. So
Right.
that's a little bit of the game too.
And the money, I mean, and if they've got the money to say, hey,
Yeah.
we're going to give you $500,000 to do this again. And it's something I've thought a lot about, not because I think they're going to come knocking on my door, but if they did, I've asked myself a lot, like, would I sign the contract and give up and risk one of my books being, basically flushed into obscurity? If it doesn't sell well, they're not going to keep making it. It's going to go off the shelves.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see myself being in a position in the next 20 years to buy the rights back from it if, it doesn't do well. So, but it's tempting. Money right now is very tempting for a lot of people. And the possibility of money right now is very tempting for a lot of people. And that's why lotteries, are so successful in casinos. But the other thing working against self-publishing is self-publishers as well.
100%.
And it's because it is easy and it is cheap. And if I want, and I don't want to get into the, everybody's talking about the AI thing, and we all know, I think we know, the merits and the detractors about that. But if I really wanted to, I could feed a few prompts into a machine, and tomorrow I can have a book on Amazon. And I bet you $50 right now, it would be selling better than my 4 books that are on Amazon right now. If I, let the algorithm dictate what my book is going to do. Would it be good? No. Would it be polished? No. And where I'm seeing, I've been in a lot of self-publishing groups. I've left a lot of them too, because what you're seeing is kind of a big initial burst. There are these guys who are really good at marketing and getting people to, kind of like them and like how they present on social media and how they present as an author. And then you kind of see them plateau and eventually drop off, and they're not growing. They're not going anywhere. And I'm not trying to disparage, but it's a really tricky balance to walk. And the way I'm approaching it is every book is a single step in my writing career. And I might not see the end of that road. And I certainly won't see the end of it anytime soon, or the pinnacle of it, I guess I should say.
And I'm sure that you're aware that you are joining the illustrious ranks of people who have self-published in the past. Mark, you mentioned one, a modern example.
Hugh Howey,
yes.
Yeah.
And then going back, Mark Twain self-published.
Herman Melville. Moby Dick was self-published.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I can see why.
Tons of those big books.
Yeah.
Leaves of Grass, Walt Whitman.
Yeah, Walt Whitman. Yeah, like it's a thing.
Charles Dickens.
Yeah, it's a thing. Yeah, it's a thing, guys. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, I think what works against it is and right now we want everything now, and we want the feedback now, and we want the reviews now, we want the notoriety now. And I think those guys, a lot of guys, have to wait a long time to see any kind of return or recognition for the work they do, especially in the self-publishing world. Mm-hmm. You got to work your butt off you kind of have to decide if unless you have all the time in the world, if you're going to put the work into the art or put the work into the marketing. That's been a tough thing. And
yeah, I'm actually struggling with that right now, because I feel like I'm falling on the art side. I feel like I'm less interested in continuing to bash my head up against the marketing wall. And you know what? I'm just going to keep writing great books that are artistically satisfying for me, and I know for my readers. And hopefully something will break through. Like I'm still going to do whatever marketing I can, but I'm not going to. I used to focus on it, I think, a bit too much, to be honest.
Same here.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. And I think the other guys are right too. And it depends on, it's what you want. And if you, and you know, maybe you and I could put a lot of work into our marketing and make an extra $500 this month.
Exactly.
Or we can put, and it's a lot, and you guys know, and yeah, it's a lot. Like a single post for me takes so much energy and thought. And
yeah.
Kind of, and we want our stuff to be good, right? If we want our art to be good, we want our posts and our social media to reflect it. So we want to have a polished post, and we want it to say the right thing and also hit the algorithm notes and all that. And it's, you know, it's energy you could be spending on your art.
Yeah.
And I actually think it's hugely overrated, the time that we're expected or supposed to spend on social media. You know, I have a theory that, you know, for everyone that becomes aware of you and your work, 1% of them may buy your book. You know, so if you work really hard and get 1,500 social media followers, you know, that translates into 1% of that.
Maybe 1% of that.
Yeah,
my Amazon sales have been at 0. I'm not selling myself very well. I hope it doesn't, you know, not the quality of the books. 0 for the last 2 months. I think the month before that, I sold 2 books on Amazon. But I go to markets and I sell, you know, I think the last, I was at a market today. It wasn't very busy. I sold 6 books, which is fine. A few weeks ago, I went to one. I sold 19 books, which is for a 5-hour stretch. It is incredible. And it sounds like, you know, if you're listening and you've never self-published and you've never sold books at a market, it's like $20. That's not, Stephen King sells 20 million books in a week. And, you know,
in a day.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry, man.
Yeah. But A, he's got 70 some odd books out there. B, he's been doing it since, you know, for almost maybe 50 years or more. And it was a different world. He came from a different world too, where he worked his ass off. Like you know, if you read On Writing, he talks about it, and he probably doesn't talk about it as much as he could. His marriage probably suffered for it. His parent, you know, his relationships probably. I mean, he had other issues too, but
I love that book, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, me too. Yeah, I've read it a few times.
Do you believe it though? Do you believe he actually cuts 15% from his manuscripts? I don't for a second.
I do. Well, I do based on his re-release of The Stand, where he added 150,000 words or something to it when he republished it. So and maybe he wrote that out of the, you know, took it for it. But I believe that he had it. I think I cut.
I think it's a laudable goal.
That much from the Orchid Room.
I think it's a worthwhile goal. I mean, 15% sometimes. It just depends on where you're at as a writer, I think.
And the type of writer you are, and and some guys take a lot of time. Every word they put in is well thought out. Yeah. And you might not cut any. I don't think you can ever make a blanket statement about how much you should take out or how much you should put in. Just like, you know, Stephen King says, you know, never ever use an adverb or use one adverb ever. But there's a place for adverbs.
I feel that way with Kurt Vonnegut on semicolons. He has a similar sort of like, okay, come on, but there's a point to a semicolon,
right? And everybody's got their compunction. But you don't see a lot of. I think there are readers who are trained by their favorite authors to not like certain things, and I think they look for those things, and it can ruin an experience for you. And I think if you just set out as a reader, go out. Try to enjoy what you're reading. Just try to enjoy it. You'll probably enjoy it, unless it's a very terrible book or just doesn't resonate with you. Yeah. And I don't think you're going to really notice a semicolon, not semicolons especially.
I mean,
no, God,
like adverbs are a little more garish in the wrong
adverbs,
spot.
I think, when you're doing dialogue, adverbs is, maybe not.
And now there's this thing against M dashes.
M dashes.
You know?
What?
I love M dashes.
I love them.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to let
M dashes.
This has gotten super nerdy, guys. we're waxing poetic about M dashes.
I
Oh,
could
the M
stare at a
dash. I
good
love the
dash
M
all night
dash.
long.
That's funny. So,
Yeah.
okay, we're actually approaching the hour mark here as we're recording this. Christopher, I think you're an excellent example of an indie self-published writer. I know that you're doing excellent work and working hard, and I just want to reassure you that all three of us are actually going to be really famous one day after we're dead.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
So,
I was going to say
yeah.
posthumously.
So you have that to look forward to. And I'm about to read your book, The Orchid Room. I think other people should reach out and check out your work as well.
I've been getting a lot of good feedback on it. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. So Mark, any final questions for Christopher before we part ways? And
yeah, well, what's you mentioned the book you're working on now. What comes after that? Do you have the next one after that?
Oh,
Or
man. Yeah.
you like-
Do you have another hour? No,
Yeah, choices. Yeah.
I've got 2 complete manuscripts, and I should say 2.5. So I wrote the first book of a what I thought was going to be a young adult sort of dark fantasy, urban fantasy. I decided I don't want it to be young adult. I also decided I've already rewritten it once, and I fairly recently decided I want it to be in the third person instead of the first.
Oh, wow.
So
That's
I
a big
gotta
change.
go back. Yep. I'm rewriting the whole thing.
That's...
I halted the second book in the series so that I could rewrite it, flesh more stuff out. I'm really excited about it, which makes it really tough.
Yeah.
But I won't talk too much about what that's about yet because it's a ways off. I recently finished the first draft of what I am calling a noir horror kind of thing. It's sort of a Squid Games-esque meets Maltese Falcon kind of thing.
Ooh, Maltese Falcon, yeah.
Yeah, I'm probably not, but in terms of, it's got a gumshoe, or a detective.
It's got that kind of noir character.
Yeah. And when I finished it, I realized this noir character, he's got more books in store for him. Like, I think it was the start of an adventure. Yeah, so I'm excited for that. And then really quickly, I started a sci-fi novel that I also think is going to turn in. I'm planning on it turning into a series about. I'm calling it. The working title is Otherworld Almanac, about this guy who is basically recruited to find a new home for the human race in a different dimension because the destruction of this realm is imminent, or the destruction of this planet, and there are no other livable areas. So he kind of, it's, Joe calls it portal fiction. He's gonna kind of loosely put portal hop from world to world. Looking.
I like how you just completely embraced the whole portal.
Oh, ever since you said it, I think about it all the time. Yeah, I love that term, portal fiction.
And it sounds like a picaresque sort of story, like where you're getting like a sense of every world as he goes to the next world.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, and it's going to be more
like
putting more humor into it.
Yeah, it sounds
humor,
like
adventure, and
it sounds like fun.
I
love that
fun.
kind of book.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. And I've had to put it on hold while I'm doing a 5th or 6th revision of Encore right now in preparation for publication. So
we like to finish our podcast with our guests saying something extremely funny and witty. Would you mind?
Bananas.
Joe, you son of a bitch.
Nicely done.
Sorry,
nicely done. Christopher Sweet, thank you very much for being on our podcast, Recreative.
Fabulous meeting you, Christopher.
Yeah, nice meeting you, Mark. Nice seeing you again, Joe.
Good.
You've been listening to Recreative, a podcast about creativity and the works that inspire it. Recreative is produced by Mark Rayner and Joe Mahoney for Donovan Street Press Inc. in association with Monkey Joy Press. Technical production and music by Joe Mahoney, web design by Mark Rayner. You can support this podcast by checking out our guests' work, listening to their music, purchasing their books, watching their shows, and so on. You can find out more about each guest and all of our past episodes by visiting recreative.ca. That's re-creative.ca. You can contact us by emailing Joe Mahoney at donovanstreetpress.com. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for listening.